Hey everyone, this is Devin from Developer to Developer, and today I'm really excited to announce that I'm kicking off an entire series devoted to everything Unity 3D terrain creation. So without further ado, I wanted to kick off this series by having a quick introduction to both common terminology and technology that I'll be using throughout this series of tutorials. So let's begin. Size. The size of a terrain, typically in meters, is defined by Unity 3D width, length, and height limit settings. A terrain's height acts as both a total height value and y-axis limiter. Shape. The shape of a terrain is defined by the deformations in the y-axis of the vertex points controlled by what's called a height map. Height maps are black and white 2D representations of the height exposure a terrain's vertex points will receive. Height map image resolution must match your terrain resolution. Resolution. A terrain's height map pixel resolution must match a terrain's subdivision resolution. The higher pixel resolution of a height map, the denser the terrain's vertex count will be. Higher resolution height map / terrains give more control to deform the terrain in finer detail, however, at a cost to scene performance. Color. A terrain's color is derived from what's called a color map. Color maps guide color to tiled terrain textures for far distant views and attempt a color correction over all applied terrain textures. Color maps also help curve the repeated tile textures that show up on large, open terrains by exposing its random detail at far distances. Texture. At close distances, terrains need to display detailed diffuse texture maps to make the scene feel realistic. Terrain textures also need to blend from one another by means of slope and masks that, in turn, get complemented by our underlining color map detail and saturation. Splat. Terrain textures are painted onto a terrain by means of what's called a splat map. Splat maps are ARGB texture representations of how 1 through 4 textures should be painted on the terrain and blend between one another. Each 4 diffuse textures added to the terrain will require a unique splat map. Thus, less textures is better for performance. 1 through 4 textures requires 1 splat map. 5 through 8 textures requires 2 splat maps. So on and so forth. Normals. When light rolls off a surface, the amount of detail a light creates is dictated by the high detail resolution shape of that surface. Terrains, however, need to have as low resolution for performance reasons as possible. So we capture the high detailed surface version deformations to a map called normal map, to then be ran on a low detail surface. Shader. A shader is a visual GPU-based set of instructions to manipulate a texture in a post-processing pass. Terrain shaders are designed to combine all our maps, hide tiles, lower overall performance, and a ton of other visual stunning effects. Tech and plugins. Throughout the series, we'll be using a whole host of different technologies and plugins to achieve the best terrain quality and performance as possible. So here's a quick view of the different techs these tutorials will be covering. Please note that not all of the below techs are required, but all different tools covered have advantages and disadvantages over one another that we'll cover later on per tutorial. Unity 3D, our game engine of choice. Please visit www.unity3d.com if you have not picked up a copy of this game engine yet. All our tutorials will be focused on this game engine and this game engine alone. So there'll be no other additional support for any other additional game engines or questions around other game engines. World Machine. A world machine is a well industry used external software to a Unity3D game engine that offers every terrain generation need you could possibly have. So visit world-machine.com and get a copy today. Terrain Composer. So like World Machine, Terrain Composer is a fantastic tool by Nathaniel that aligns itself as an internal tool to Unity3D that can generate every terrain need for Unity3D terrains. So please see the Unity3D Asset Store for more information about how to get a copy of Terrain Composer. World Composer. So World Composer is the second plugin installment to Nathaniel's Terrain Composer that extends to satellite image-based terrain building to both Unity3D and Terrain Composer plugin. So again, please see the Unity3D Asset Store for more information about World Composer. RTP3 Shader. So lastly, but most importantly, our terrain throughout the series will be compiling all of our work down into our Unity3D scenes with a terrain that uses the AAA quality shader known as RTP version 3 by Thomas. So for more information about this shader, you can also visit the Unity3D Asset Store and get a copy. So with that quick introduction, we'll go ahead and begin with the rest of our tutorials. Please note that throughout the remaining of our tutorials in this series, I'll be referencing this tutorial if you have not gotten up to speed with a certain terminology or technology that we'll be using in one or the other particular tutorials under this umbrella topic. Thank you.